the issues affecting Asia's animals and the stories of the people working on their behalf. We'll be taking you on a tour of what's been happening lately in the animal protection space around Asia and also bringing you updates from our huge network of animal protection organizations and our many working groups. Welcome to the Asia for Animals podcast.
Hello and welcome to Animals Online, a series of the Asia for Animals podcast, brought to you by the Social Media Animal Cruelty Coalition, one of AFA's working groups. In today's episode, we will be talking all about fake rescue, a form of cruelty content found on social media. My name is Amanda.
My name is Vinaya.
My name is Nicola. We are coordinators of SMAC, the Social Media Animal Cruelty Coalition. Let's just do a quick recap about what SMAC is all about. So SMAC is a coalition of animal protection organisations from around the world who work together to end animal cruelty content on social media. We carry out research and have the largest database of its kind storing information about cruelty content. We also raise awareness with the public on how to spot cruelty content and, crucially, how to take action. And we also work directly with the platforms to help them improve their policies and moderation, or to hold them account when they don't.
So in our report, SMAC has compiled so many examples, theories, and even case studies with the help of our members and researchers. And now today, we are hoping that Nicola, Vinaya, and I can share with you the content of that report. We thought that it would be a great idea to help you skim the report by delivering it to an auditory format so that you can enjoy and learn something new, even in the middle of your daily hustle. So let's get into it. What exactly is fake rescue?
So fake rescue content is a type of online animal cruelty content that shows stages of animals being rescued, but is actually a stage plot. Animals are intentionally being placed in dangerous situations for the purpose of being rescued to gain attention from users. Fake rescue content may show animals in danger, whether they are injured, trapped, stuck under an object, drowned, buried, or even attacked by another animals. And this type of content rarely or never explains what happens to the animals before or after the rescue. If you see a lot of this type of content, you would slowly be more aware of the patterns that these creators use and the abundance of this type of content in social media. Without even realizing it, people with good intentions might unintentionally contribute to the number of views or likes or even giving donations.
That's quite shocking about what is fake rescue, and it's unbelievable that this is happening. So as mentioned before, SMAC has just released a new report, and it is called Spot the Scam, Unmasking Fake Rescue. Can you tell us more about that?
At the start of October, SMAC launched its newest report on fake rescue. It has garnered the attention of the public from all over the world. Compared to other forms of cruelty SMAC has dissected so far, fake rescue might be the most perplexing for the public. The danger is very ambiguous for some, and the cruelty is not exactly visible in terms of the action being done. But imagine the horror the animals experience when they are being put in the middle of a dangerous situation that could jeopardize their life. Imagine how scared and lonely they must feel, especially when most of these stage rescues are being done on juvenile animals.
So we wanted to look further into this issue because we were aware of fake rescue content, and in fact some platforms have policies against fake rescue content, which we'll talk about later. But we were noticing that the type of fake rescue that people were creating was changing and evolving. So we wanted to dig deep into the issue again. So what we did was we used a team of fantastic volunteers to go away and find links online showing fake rescue content. We found more than 1,000 links. I think it was 1,022 links, which showed fake rescue content collected over a few months. These were from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter, or X as it's now known. and we found a whole range of different kinds of fake rescues. We also were trying to look for indicators, so things that you would see commonly or often in fake rescue content to help the public and the platforms be able to identify fake rescue content. And we looked also at all the videos that we found, how many views they had, and collectively it was almost 500 million times these links had been viewed.
I'm sure you've seen a lot, and I want to know more. So what are the forms of fake rescue that you find?
Statistically, I think the most common thing would be found to be abandoned. Puppies being dumped in bags, in rubbish dumps, or in the river. Cats, I think, are also subjected to this type of plot as well. Primates are often subjected to situations where they are trapped or stuck in the most unreasonable object, like a fan or between branches, which is quite weird, or buried on the ground with another monkey, or even got bitten by an alligator, a fake alligator. It's just a toy. And a lot of these scenarios are very unlikely to happen, or at least unlikely to be found by a person randomly walking out of nowhere. And we have also seen a lot of theme attacked by other animals, from a goat being strangled by a snake and a rescuer comes to help, to an owl and an eagle on a duel, and then somehow a snake appears to create more tension probably, and not too long after that, another rescuer comes. We are also aware of the scenes where animals are infested by small organisms. They might look like flea or ticks, but the most different out of all is that they are infested by sunflower seeds. So the sunflower seeds are being used as something similar to ticks, probably. They kind of put a glue on it, and then they glued like multiple sunflower seeds onto the skin of the monkey or even dogs, and they would detach the sunflower seed one by one. It's so not realistic, and it really shows that the content is not a rescue content, but it's rather made for entertainment. But probably, Nicola, you can explain this better than me.
No, that was a good explanation. Yeah, it's just a really strange one to describe, because it's a really strange thing for people to do. And our only sort of thoughts on why people might want to watch those kind of videos is because it is quite popular for people to watch videos of kind of, parasites being removed from skin, spots and abscesses and things like that. But it really also, to me, shows how kind of creative, for want of a better way of explaining it, the content creators are, because they come up with these different ways to get views.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is that they actually have, what do you call it, like a tutorial in YouTube to do that. Not on the animals, but it's just like it's some kind of an art to do that. And I think those people actually got their idea from that kind of tutorial on YouTube, which is very weird.
Yeah, it is strange. But again, it just, they're probably finding the things that are popular and then saying, how can we turn this? How can I recreate this? And using animals is an easy way to do that.
Yeah, that's entertainment issues thingy. Just, one thing getting virals and other people just like, yeah, I want to do that too. And just like using this animal easier. Oh, can I get money? So yeah, if it doesn't stop, it will become like a cycle, a death of cycles. So.
Exactly. Yeah, and that kind of leads into some other forms of content we found where animals are getting medical treatment. So it might be something like removing the ticks, but there's some other really disturbing kind of content that have kind of, I guess, grown from that, around where some animals appear to have been made ill or even injured so they can film them being treated. We've even seen some really strange and sad videos of animals being given CPR who appear to be dying or perhaps drugged, but they've seemed very unwell. And there's so many issues with giving CPR to animals, particularly if they aren't actually in need of that, if they're still conscious in some way. And I think this was one of the things that we did with this report, was that we did want to get veterinary opinions, because there were some things that we could have theories about, but it was really helpful to have a vet to be able to look at content and say,
was there? Yeah.
yes, those might be signs of an animal being drugged. Or for some of the animals receiving treatment, we might have seen them with drips. So they were on drips, into their skin, or they might be given medication of some kind. And the vets were able to say to us, that drip setup is inappropriate, or it's incorrect, or it doesn't even look like it's fully attached to the animal, or, it's unclear why they were giving that medication. So having that extra insight, I think, was really important.
Yeah. I remember this one content where the puppy was injected with a needle, but it's not exactly injected, and it was kind of blurred by the creator. And he kind of slit the needle between the thighs, which is kind of weird. I mean, maybe we can see that it's not an actual injection and not an actual rescue, but not everyone can really know that. So that's why we kind of make indicators for people to, educate themselves.
It must be like lots of animals that has been involved and suffered because of this action. So was there any pattern to this kind of animals who are used in this content?
This is going to be a long answer, but like in general, just by looking at our data, there definitely is a pattern which could entail more advanced trends if we dissect it deeper. But just from observation only, for instance, we know that animals that are still considered as babies by humans, those are the kind of animals that still need companionship from their mothers. But they are also the ones that are often used as victims in fake rescue content. So cat is actually the most prominent animal that we have seen through our research, and then followed by primates, which almost all of them belong to the genus Macaca, followed by dogs, a few species of reptiles, birds, and other mammal species as well. And we are uncertain why cats are often used in this type of content, but it is very likely because of the abundance of cats, especially in countries with poor population management. There are some animals in our database that are prone to very specific plot of rescue. For instance, adult cats, whether they have offsprings or not, tend to be rescued to the vet with a worrying condition where the cat cannot move and there's no sign of movement from the cat's eyes. We also consulted this type of content to experts, and it's very likely that based on the condition that they are looking, they might be drugged for the sake of content. We have also seen turtles that are inhibited by barnacles, which realistically can happen. However, it can get to the point that novel objects also inhibit the turtle's shells. The most baffling out of all would be freshwater turtles being released to the sea after being cleansed from barnacles.
Yeah, and I think it's a point to add here is that some of these things on the surface might look sort of normal to a viewer. So they might see a cat who's lay on the ground and she looks like she's really ill and she can't move. And then the video shows the cat being taken and treated at a vet's. But actually, if you look at it with a critical eye, you kind of come to question, is there any information about what was wrong with the cat? And why do you never see the vet's face in the video? And what happened to the kittens, if there was kittens with the cat? And I think also, like with the turtle example that when I used, in these videos, you see the turtle with the barnacle stuck on the back and then the person removing them. But actually, if you look at the species, that animal may, as you mentioned, some of them are freshwater species that are probably been easy to purchase from a pet shop. and have been put in this situation and then being used to pretend that they were in the ocean in salt water, which is not even where they come from, and have these barnacles on their back. But to the average person looking at that, they might not see that at first. So that's why it was really important for us to highlight what's been going on.
Okay, I can see that it's not easy to spot that. Of course, I mean, you should ask the expert, is this true? Is it possible in a normal situation, or, just like freshwater turtle and barnacle? Maybe some people just like, it's turtle. Turtle is turtle, so they doesn't know. So it's not easy, but is it possible for the public to spot it? If it is yes, then how to? Do you have any idea that you can share?
I think it was clear when carrying out the research, it wasn't always easy from the first look at the video, whether it was fake or not. Even for us, we spent a lot of times dissecting each and every one of the links there to also try to look whether the content is actually a fake rescue or not. So to do that, we have a big focus on common clues that we use. We call them as indicators. And the most common indicators would be no genuine animal organizations associated, unlikely to be a random encounter, and page or account has multiple fake rescue. And there are so many other indicators that we haven't mentioned, and we're going to mention after this. And we collate them in a form of infographic. And it is a very helpful guide for people who would like to find out more about fake rescue. And it's called ARC, A-R-C, which stands for Authenticity, Reality Check, and Creation.
ARC, that sounds catchy. And hopefully easy to remember. I mean, it's easy to remember, but maybe not easy to be done. But let's see, what is ARC? Can you tell us what A, R, and C?
Definitely. Okay, so A is for authenticity, and this is about checking the source, which comes back to, as Winaya said, one of the main indicators that we found of a fake rescue is that there's no genuine animal organization associated, because obviously if there was, then it wouldn't be a fake rescue. So that's the very first thing that we say people should look for. Another big indicator is when the page has multiple fake rescue videos. So if you're seeing a lot of videos that look similar, and another indicator of there's no follow-up on what happens to the animals, it's just lots and lots of videos showing these kinds of scenarios, then they are another two very strong indicators that this is fake. Another thing is when you're looking at the content, that the rescue or maybe the veterinary practices or setup looks very unprofessional. And sometimes when there are multiple videos, you might see that the human rescuer, so-called rescuer, is always the same person. So this is really like looking at the bigger picture of the whole account and who might be behind it.
And for our reality check, you must understand what really is happening. So we have 3 indicators for that. So the first one would be unlikely to be a random encounter caught on camera. As we have spent a lot of times looking at the links, we know that a lot of those content are just so not irrational. Like, for example, the one that Nicola and I did mention, the freshwater turtle inhibited by barnacles, or there is also one content where a dog was trapped in a plastic that are amongst all the rubbish and the road is quite empty. And then somehow this content creator just walked over there and saw like a moving garbage, and somehow he opened it and apparently there was a dog. And the second would be odd combination of species. We have lots of content like this as well. Eagles fighting with owls or like snakes, and it's quite weird, honestly. And then the last would be the same animals appear in multiple videos. So we have encountered a lot of channel who actually use the same dogs, for example, or cats, but with different scenarios. And it kind of makes you think when you look into all of those videos that this is just not a real rescue.
Yeah, and looking more closely at like how the content is created. So C stands for creation, how the content is created. So we often find that the creator will delay assisting the animal to be able to film the situation. So to be able to continue to see the animal in distress before they actually interfere. And obviously a real organization would not do that. They would prioritize rescuing the animal. We also see that there's a lot of clear editing of the videos and even multiple camera angles, which indicate that the scenario was set up so that they could film from different angles, and they can really control the narrative of what's happening. And some of them are really presented almost like a story. And it's almost too polished and too sort of set up and curated than you would expect from a real rescue, particularly in like the examples that when I said about often it's just someone, they're just walking along and then they might happen upon an animal in need. Why were they being filmed? It's really unlikely that it was real and that it's just been set up for the camera.
So ARC is, I hope that's clear, because it's quite clear actually, because sometimes I can see some videos with multiple angles. It's like drama. It's just like, nah, it's not real. So that is awful.
To understand more, and if you want to know more details about it, please head to our website for a full visualized guide in at smackcoalition.com/fake-rescue.
Okay, so we know that there are like hundreds or maybe thousands of animals that actually suffering because of this fake rescue content or maybe another animal cruelty content. But can we rescue those animals? I mean, can we like literally save them? And we know that they are in a good hands, something like that.
Yeah, it's a really difficult one. And it is a question that we do get asked. And obviously, it's very hard to see animals suffering online. SMAC ourselves, we don't carry out investigations. We are not kind of on the ground, we're not based in a particular country, and this is an international problem. So sometimes we can't even identify the country that the content is coming from. But if we do have some information that might be able to help with identification of the animal, the place, the person behind it, what we would do was like assess that information and see if it was valuable for a local organization and then pass that on. And then it's in their hands because they are in that country. They know the laws, they know the law enforcement, they have the means to do that. But that happens quite rarely because often the information that we get isn't enough to be able to confidently identify where the content is or who the person is. And also, even if we pass that to an organization, the harsh reality is they don't always have the capacity to be able to take on an investigation like that. Or it could be problems in certain countries where they don't have a rescue space for some of the animals to go. So it's a really imperfect situation, and we try our best to do that type of thing. But like you say, there's so many animals and so many videos, it's impossible to find every single one and rescue them, which is really, really heartbreaking. But it's the reality, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can see that literally everyone should just do what they are supposed to do, kind of do their role. If you are the social media user, just do the 5 steps of SMAC, and SMAC to the preaching organization and also advocating to the platform. I think if everyone do that, all together, then something will happen, because I heard that there is hope. There are some videos that actually taken down. So I hope that that's the case.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, a big reason why SMAC focuses on working with the platforms is because they have the power to make a huge impact. So if they take down these channels and prevent this content from being there, then there's no incentive for these people to make cruelty content because they can't get it online and they're not going to make any money from it. So it's like trying to prevent this harm happening by literally taking away the platform.
At least demotivate them, because I heard at the beginning, like maybe one of the motivation is about the money.
It's very likely that the money is actually the motivation behind this fake rescue, which can be gained from advertisements or even donations. And this is very upsetting because there are so many genuine rescues out there that clearly need the help from people, which they might not be able to receive the help because the donations were actually given to the stage rescues. And over a fifth of the fake rescue videos we found had donation ask on them, usually in the form of a third-party platform like PayPal.
That sounds really concerning, as donation could be going to scammers instead of genuine rescues. Do you have advice that you want to give to the public?
Obviously, anytime that anyone is given a donation to a cause, it's really important to check how genuine the organisation is that you want to give the money to. So in terms of animal cruelty content, looking for a genuine animal organisation or animal rescue by seeing, do they have a formal website? Is there any registration of the organisation, to make sure that, your money is actually going to help animals.
Okay, that's like the sign if that the account is genuine. But what about the monetization of the channels? Do these creators profit from the content that they make?
Yes. So it's really difficult to know exactly how much money each creator or each video is making, because you can't find that information publicly. But there have been some estimates made. One of our SMAC members, Lady Freethinker, did some research in 2022 where they looked at 2,000 cruelty videos, and by finding sort of current earnings for creators, they estimated that on YouTube, these videos could be making about $15 million for the creator. And then YouTube itself, of course, is going to be making money on top of that. And that was about 12 million. So as you can see, like from 2,000 videos, that's potentially a huge amount of money that is being made by the creators. It is a real concern because it's, these platforms make money from the content as well. So they are potentially making money off of animal cruelty. And often the adverts are added onto content that's popular. So any content that's been engaged with could theoretically have adverts applied. So even if that content is something really bad, they can be making money off of it.
Okay, so you see a lot of this content is, a lot in social media platform, not just YouTube. It's also on Facebook, it's also on X, Instagram, and just everywhere. So what do you think the social media doing about it? They just let it happen because they doesn't know, or I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, so in the past, Fake Rescue has had attention to it because a lot of organisations, animal protection organisations and SMAC, were finding a lot of fake rescue. And it used to be the more types of rescue where we saw animals attacking each other, where, there'd be a dog with a snake, a big boa constrictor or something wrapped around the dog, or an owl attacking kittens or something like this. So this was flagged and there was a lot of publicity about it. And around that time, some platforms did make policy changes that mentioned fake rescue specifically. So that's YouTube and Meta. Meta own Facebook, Instagram. So their policies have a specific wording against fake rescue. However, as looking at the results from our report, these policies obviously are not working because Facebook was the number one platform that we found fake rescue on. And the views, as we said, were really high. So we think that it's great them having a policy, but they need to be able to maintain it. So one that is actually being enforced but two, so that as this types of fake rescue change, so does their moderation, so does their policy, so that it's capturing them. Because if it used to be one type and that's what maybe all the keywords in their system are looking for, those keywords or looking for those types of images, but then the creators are changing the types of fake rescue they're creating, then it might not be being captured at the moment. So since the report has been launched on fake rescue, we have now organised meetings with Meta, YouTube and TikTok to discuss the findings. And obviously our goal is that they improve the policies and the moderation so that it is capturing the fake rescue and removing it. I think it's really important point to say now about how the number one action that SMAC asks of the public is for them to report cruelty content to the platform. So the fake rescue, if you see one, use the indicators, find it, and find the reporting section on the platform's website and report that content, because that helps us then when we're talking with the platforms about the issue, that, you know, we can say, look, people are reporting it to you because they are not happy that this is available and it's concerning.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, I heard the word policy changes and also the creators evolving. I mean, the policy changes and then the creators make a way around it. So the public role is to report it to them, like, hey, this is what they do know. Do you know that this is happening? So yeah, I guess I heard about 5 steps. Maybe Vinaya, can you tell us more about that?
So yes, 5 steps is actually one of our, I would say, like infographic, like steps that we share to the public and also to our members as well on how to stop online cruelty. So the first step would be to be aware of the content that you're watching. And once you know that this is not exactly a good animal content, you stop watch it, do not watch, do not engage, and also do not share, and just directly report to the platforms.
Yes, and a couple of things to add there about why we say, you know, not to engage, not to watch it. Obviously, sometimes you have to watch a bit of it because at that point you don't know, or a lot of the platforms, it will just automatically play. But what we're trying to avoid by watching, sharing, commenting, any of that, is that the way that algorithms work on the platforms is that they look at engagement. So it doesn't matter if it's negative comments saying this is cruelty or thumbs down, or if it's positive, the platform just sees, hey, this video has a lot of engagement, so it's going to keep pushing that because it thinks it's popular. And that's going to mean it gets viewed by more and more people. And if we're talking about monetization on the content, then that might mean that person, that creator, is making more money because this is popular content. And again, like I said, like reporting it to the platforms is really important because it helps us in our conversations. And we do know that some people get frustrated because the content hasn't been removed after they make a report. But what we say is, it's really important that you do that anyway, because we find from our data that the ones we report do eventually get taken down. Not 100% of them, it's more around 47% last time we analysed it, which obviously isn't good enough, but it means that some content is being removed. So it's definitely worth it. It might just mean that it needs multiple reports from different people, or it takes some time to take it down, but we need to keep trying.
Yeah, I actually want to add something though. It's not only, but we have other variety of infographics for educational purposes. So we do have something that we call as Ask Yourself, and you can also look into it on our website as well. And I think this material will be beneficial for you to understand more about different types of online cruelty. I know that we're talking about fake rescue, but just want to let the listeners know that, you know, SMAC is here to help you, and we have lots of materials that you can look into.
Awesome. I mean, you guys are us, because I'm also part of SMAC. I forget that I'm also SMAC because, you know, when I'm analyzing these videos also, I'm trying to be the public in the POV of the public. Like when I see this video,
Yeah.
okay, this is like real, and I need to look at this again. Okay, no wonder people like being scammed.
Yeah.
So maybe before we end this all conversation about fake rescue, and so the people can just look at the report and learn something new, I want to ask one question, like, what do you feel when you first seeing all this video? What is the first emotion that you have? I mean, is it like anger or sad or curious or just have no feeling at all? Or I don't know.
Yeah. I can go first on this one. So I think when I'm on social media myself now and I come across a video, I'm straight away into like critical mode of like, what is this about? Why is this animal in that situation? And I'm looking at like, what's the species? Should they be there? If they're a wild animal, why are they being filmed? Why are they being interacted with by humans? You know, or if it's a rescue, particularly now with what we know, I am kind of like, what page is this on? And who's sharing it? And, you know, what else does this organization do? So I think, yes, I mean, obviously we work on this all the time. So this kind of thing becomes quite natural for us. And it can mean that you're sort of always in a critical place when you're looking at animal videos. But then when you see ones that actually are genuine, you know, just someone filming one of their, you know, rescue animals at home or something like that, just having a happy time, doing their own thing, then, you know, that's really lovely to watch. I'd say looking at the fake rescue videos when we're doing this research, it's a mixture. I think it's sad when you see you know, the animals are suffering, and they clearly are, because that's what they're trying to capture and put into this video. They want people to be emotionally connected to the video and the animal, and you know, hoping for them to be rescued, and then that's what they do on the video. So it is sad when you see how stressed the animals are, and it's also really frustrating, I think, for me, because there are some videos that are very convincing, but we can tell from our indicators and our experience that they are fake. But maybe the public wouldn't know that, and you can see why people are interacting with the content, and that's really frustrating, because we've got a challenge in terms of making it easy for people to be able to identify this, and that's where it comes back for me about it putting the onus on the platforms as well, because if they can take the content down, then the public wouldn't need to learn how to spot them in the same way. I mean, I think that's a long way off that happening, but yeah, I think frustration is definitely a big one for me.
Yeah, I can feel that from here. What about you, Inara?
I think I got introduced to this fake rescue content just a few months before we did this data collection. I knew about fake rescue not for probably just the type of content that people do for entertainment, but I wasn't aware that they are doing it blatantly, and the type of content has become more apparent that they are fake. So I'm not saying I'm impressed by the way that they think, but it's quite creative in a way, but no, it's not in a good sense. But I mean, I think we have looked into almost, of course, more than 1,000 of fake rescue content, and I think, fortunately, I'm not desensitized by it, but like as Nicola mentioned, I became very aware and very critical about animal content now, which is great. I think Amanda and I kind of share rescue content to look into whether this is fake or not. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but at the very least, we are trying to keep up with the trend and to see whether the patterns has changed or not. So, yeah, I become very critical. But I think it's a good thing, especially in this line of work.
Yeah, I mean, being critical in this social media era, maybe not just with animals issue, maybe another issue, political, humanitarian, anything. You need to be critical. So I think with this report, so people know, people understand, so all the listener can become more aware with everything. Because I think when the social media platform just being, they can't do much maybe. So us as the user can do it ourselves, just don't be aware, do not engage, don't click it, don't like it, don't comment, just don't do anything with the content except report it. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the type of fake rescue that you identified, about, the different type of animals, the different form of fake rescue. And also you told us that you're feeling critical now, you're feeling sad, you're feeling frustrated. I'm sure you've been seeing thousands of videos of fake rescue. You identify, you see like many times about this video. So what is the most horrible moment or something that makes your emotion like, how can people do this in a video? Like what kind of video?
I think there's a couple of different types. So I think the videos where we were seeing the mother cats who are lay on the ground, unable to move, and there's the kittens with her kind of crying. Well, they're crying and crawling on her. The fact with that one is we saw that type of video so often on many different channels. So it wasn't the same video, it wasn't the same cats. It's like an idea that's taken off of something that we suspect is some sort of drug they use to make the cat lay like that. And then they place her and her kittens in like a rubbish dump or something. The fact that that's like a trend that's happened to many different cats by many different creators is really disturbing, because that is, it's a really extreme thing to do, and it's really distressing to watch, and I'm sure it's horrific for the cats themselves. And also it shows how there are copycats, and how the fact that this content is out there, that other people will follow and will copy because it's popular. And then to see people commenting, praising them for saving the cats, it's really difficult. I think I could hear a cat meowing just then. One of your rescues, Wanaya.
Yeah. Anyway, my cat is in the mood for zooming like the other cats. So anyway, yeah, for me, the most horrible one would be the drowning animal, whether it's cats, primates, or dogs, or any other species. I always imagine if I drown, I can, sense the fear that I feel, and like how I'm minutes away from not being able to breathe or losing energy, and to really put that perspective onto animals who I think don't really have the same way of thinking as us. We can yell at someone to ask for help, but for them, I don't think it's as easy as that. And to see that they are being put there purposely, intentionally, I just can't understand why people do that.
Yeah.
And it's so heartbreaking.
I can feel the sadness and the frustration and heartbreaking. I can feel the cats. I remember the video when so I feel like I can't breathe, and it's a small kitten and just like trying to save herself. So yeah, I mean, all the video is all sad, but I also want to ask another question. Actually, it's about, in the terms of the time of the data analysis, when you see the videos, do you ever see like any fake rescue content or channel that actually has been taken down, or actually like people know that this content is actually fake rescue, and other people like encourage other social media user like maybe don't donate, or I know that you are a fake rescue, something like that. Do you ever see that kind of case
Yeah.
during the whole research?
Yeah, actually a lot, not a lot, but like more than 5 accounts at the very least. I remember there's this one account which we use for a case study in our report. They have been using similar looking dogs, but I know that it's actually the same dog because they have the same patterns on their head, and they are exposed to very many dangerous situations, from slightly drowning and being abandoned inside a plastic, or being chained actually. And like from the looks of it, those puppies are still below 5 months probably. And there's another channel as well. I can't really say where the location, but a lot of people actually noticed that this shelter is actually a fake one to gain money from social media. And still, even though there's multiple people commenting that this is a fake shelter, a fake account, there are still some people who think that this is genuine. And back to the first example, they also have lots of people noticing that this is fake, because there's so many apparent indicators that I can't really describe here, but like they always use the same captions. They actually use an order of number to indicate how many videos that they have uploaded, which is very weird. So yeah, those are the type of content that, as you said before, were noticed by people, but still there are still a lot of people that likes that kind of video, and unfortunately, they're not taken down yet.
Yeah, I think we've had this kind of comment before about, isn't it worth commenting on cruelty content generally and saying, this is cruelty? And I can definitely see why people want to do that. I can see there might be some value, but we have found on some content, it's often most of the comments are from the people calling out the content. So possibly those comments and those kind of well-meaning people are actually are the main contributors to the engagement on that content. And I do know that from our data, some videos have been taken down since. We are actually trying to escalate the content to the platforms, the content that we found in the report to the platforms, so that hopefully it all gets taken down. So it'll be really interesting for us to see the results for that.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the hopeful tone, at least after the frustration, after the sadness or anything. But yeah, I mean, keep reporting, keep doing what you already doing. I mean, the NGO keep protecting the animal underground, keep rescuing animals. Even, some content creators also doing what they're doing. So yeah, I mean, everyone has their own parts. And I think SMAC has its part as like the bridge and become like the advocate of the animals on the social media, which is like the one on the third world, when they're actually on the living world, the real animals suffered, but they're become the content on social media. So it's a new thing. And I learned a lot listening to this, even though I already listened to you guys for a year, but still it's always a new thing talking about this issue. So
yeah, and I think that's kind of the slightly interesting thing, even though it's difficult with working on tackling social media animal cruelty, because it is changing all the time. There are new things coming up all the time, which is why it's so crucial that we're always carrying out research and always identifying trends of what's happening out there. Because it is really a modern day problem, that we've got social media so ingrained in everything that we do, even animal cruelty now.
Yeah, it's always changing, and the animals are still animals. I mean, animals still have feeling. We have feeling. We have we are all sentient beings, so we still have to stick on that, even though the world is become more cruel and cruel, maybe. But we have still to be kind and yeah, just still do what we can do as a human being. So maybe like any takeaway points or last reminder that you want to say to the listeners?
Yes. I think when talking about fake rescue, we do acknowledge that it's not as clear cut as maybe seeing animals being intentionally physically hurt in content. But the animals go through a lot of stress and their lives are put at risk. Potentially they are harmed mentally and physically during the ordeal. And so it is really important to think critically when looking at these videos and use the indicators that we've put out there through ARC to guide your thinking. Watch the Ask Yourself videos that Winaya mentioned, which go through different kinds of cruelty. And again, it prompts you to think critically about what's really happening in the content. And I think that is the best approach to engaging with fake potential rescues or any content really, is to think critically and think about it from the animal's point of view about what's happening to them.
Winaya, do you want to add something?
I just want to express how grateful we are with our members and also our volunteers as well. Without them, I think we couldn't have done this fake rescue report. And we have seen that the report, they are reported in local news and international news. So we got a lot of publicity, all thanks to our members. And of course, the data collection, the volunteers have contributed so much. So thank you to everyone. Oh, well, thank you, Amanda and Nicola as well. I forgot. But yeah, so thank you to everyone who has been involved in this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yay. I mean, we are all doing what we can do, and Nicola, Winaya at SMAC doing their best. Also the volunteer doing their best to look at this horrible thing. I mean, horrible thing because this is horrible. You can feel how the animal's feeling. And yeah, I agree that spread the news, spread this information as far wide as possible. Let the people know about this issue. Just maybe tell your friend, your neighbor, like, do you know about this? You helped this yesterday. Do you know that they are fake or something like that? And let's check this video. Maybe like make a challenge with your friend. Like, do you think that this is real or not? Make like check with the ARC. This is real or not? Because that's what I do with Winaya, and that's how you enhance your critical thinking. And I think that's important. At least you know it yourself, and then tell your neighbor, tell your others. So yeah. Well, I think that's it for now. And I'm sure that people will find out more information about this because all the stories that you tell us is really make us, trigger us to want to know more about this issue. So to find out more about this issue and maybe particularly about this report, you can visit the SMAC website at www.smaccoalition.com/fake rescue. And there you can see everything. And if you want to see about how to help, how to stop fake rescue or how to stop animal cruelty content online, everything is there.
If you want to know more about SMAC's 5 steps, you can head on to Google and look for the public advice by SMAC Coalition.
Yes. And that, like you say, brings us on to things like ARC. And obviously our aim is that the public know what they're seeing and can identify it. And then what we also want to give this information to the platforms, because obviously the platforms is where this stuff is taking place. And we want them to know what kind of cruelty is happening. And again, give them those indicators to help their teams, their processes, their AI, whatever they use to be able to capture all forms of fake rescue.
So that's all. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening. You can find everything you need to know about our work and connect with us at asiaforanimals.com. Tune in for the next episode. Asia for Animals Coalition, a united voice for Asia's Animals.